Jinx, the blue-haired maniac, the chaos incarnate, the girl who turned Piltover's council into rubble. But this isn't a story about a crazy terrorist who blows things up for fun. This is a story about Powder, about a little girl who lost everything, about sisters torn apart by trauma, and about the cycle of violence in the Undercity. This is the story of how Powder became Jinx, of Silco's manipulation, of Shimmer and Hex Tech, of the bridge that divides the two cities. Vi, Caitlyn, Echo, Isha, everyone caught in the crossfire will be explored. This is the complete lore of Jinx, Riot's official canon for League of Legends. Every explosion, every breakdown, every desperate attempt to prove she is not a Jinx. If you love League lore and want to understand and dive into the champions that define Runeterra, hit that like button and subscribe. Don't forget to hit the bell icon to be notified when new videos come out. Leave a comment down below. Are you a Jinx fan? Do you play her in the game, or do you just like her from the show? Let's dive into the lore behind Jinx. Before Jinx, there was Powder, a small girl living in the Undercity of Zaun. No parents, they died on the bridge during a failed uprising against Piltover when Powder was just a child. She was raised by Vander, a former revolutionary turned peacekeeper, along with her older sister Vi and two other kids, Milo and Clagger. Powder wanted to help, wanted to contribute, wanted to prove she wasn't useless, but everything she touched went horribly wrong. Her gadgets always malfunctioned, her bombs fizzled. During jobs with her siblings, she'd trigger alarms, drop things, and make noise at the worst moments. Milo is the one who called her a Jinx, told her she ruined everything, said they'd be better off without her. Vi always defended her, told her she was perfect, that one day her inventions would work, that she just needed some time. Powder believed her, desperately. Then came the job that changed everything. Vi, Milo, Clagger, and Powder broke into a Piltover apartment belonging to Jace. They were looking for anything valuable. What they found was Hex Tech, magical crystals containing concentrated arcane energy, unstable, volatile, and incredibly dangerous. Powder took them, thought they were beautiful, thought maybe she could use them in her inventions. The theft triggered a citywide investigation. Piltover's enforcers came to Zaun looking for answers. Vander, wanting to prevent another war between the cities, turned himself in to protect the kids. But Silco, a crime lord and Vander's former friend turned bitter enemy, intercepted Vander instead, took him to an old factory, and planned to use him as leverage. Vi decided to rescue Vander herself, told Powder to stay behind, to stay safe, and to let the others handle it. Powder couldn't. She wouldn't. She followed them to the warehouse where Silco was holding Vander. She watched through a window as Vi, Milo, and Clagger fought Silco's thugs, watched them start to lose. So Powder used her bomb, the one she'd built with the Hextech crystals, the one that finally worked, and oh, it worked a little too well. The bomb detonated with magical force. The entire building collapsed. Milo died, crushed under falling debris. Clagger died trying to shield Vander, buried alive. Vander, already dying from a shiver overdose Silco had forced on him, succumbed to his injuries shortly after, dying in Vi's arms. He told her to take care of Powder, then drew his last breath. Vi emerged from the rubble in shock. She found Powder standing outside, excited, asking if Vi saw her bomb finally working. Vi snapped, grabbed Powder, shook her, called her a Jinx. Said Milo was right, that Powder had killed their family. Then Vi walked away, leaving Powder crying alone in the alley. Vi tried to go back immediately, but Marcus, an enforcer secretly working with Silco, arrested her before she could return. Vi would spend the next several years in Stillwater Prison, never able to tell Powder she didn't mean it. Powder broke. Every fear, every insecurity, every time someone called her useless, it all came crashing down. She finally succeeded at something, and it killed everyone she loved. Silco found her there, wounded from the explosion and bleeding. But he saw something in this broken child. He saw himself, another person abandoned by the one they trusted most. He took her in, held her, told her Vi had left her, that they'd show them all. That night, Powder died, but Jinx was born. Silco raised Jinx as his daughter, not just as an employee, not even as a weapon, as his daughter. He gave her a workshop in an abandoned duct over old airship propellers, unlimited resources, freedom to build whatever she wanted. He encouraged her chaos, her creativity, and her disregard for consequences. He told her she was perfect, that the world was the one that was wrong, not her. Jinx became Silco's enforcer, his secret weapon. When he needed someone eliminated, she'd make it a spectacle. Explosions, graffiti, chaos, every scene a work of art. She designed her own weapons. Pow Pow, a minigun, her primary weapon, named after her old self. Fishbones, a rocket launcher, named for its shark-like design. And Chompers, grenades inspired by her childhood bomb designs, now perfected with Chemtech payloads. And later, a shock pistol she called Zapper, upgraded with Hextech to fire blasts of arcane energy. Every weapon a masterpiece, every job a performance. But Jinx was not stable. The trauma never healed, it festered within her. She heard voices, Milo and Clagger whispering that she was useless, that she ruined everything. Vi's voice telling her she was a Jinx. She saw hallucinations, shadows moving in her peripheral vision, figures that disappeared when she looked directly at them. She created dolls fashioned to resemble Milo and Clagger that hung in her workshop. During moments of stress, reality fractured. The voices got louder, the hallucinations became overwhelming. She'd lash out violently, unable to distinguish friend from foe. Silco helped her through these episodes, held her, reminded her who she was, gave her Shimmer, a purple drug that enhanced strength and dulled pain to keep her functional. But he also used her instability, aimed it at his enemies, let her chaos destabilize anyone who threatened his empire. For years this worked. Jinx was happy in her broken way. She had a father who loved her, who didn't abandon her, and who told her she was perfect. Then Vi came back. Vi had been in Stillwater Prison for years, locked up after Vander's death, arrested before she could return to Powder. She never stopped thinking about her sister, never forgave herself for what she said, and never stopped planning how to find Powder once she got out. Caitlin Kierman, a Piltover enforcer investigating Silco, released Vi. They formed an alliance. Caitlin wanted to catch Silco. Vi wanted to find her sister. When Vi finally saw Jinx again, something felt off. This wasn't Powder. This was someone else wearing her sister's face. Blue hair instead of brown, covered in tattoos, eyes that shifted between lucid and manic. Carrying weapons designed to kill. Jinx had stolen another Hextech gemstone for Silco, killing 6 enforcers in the process. This brought Vi and Caitlin to Zon. Vi tried anyway, tried to reach Powder underneath, told her she never meant what she said, that she'd come back as soon as she could, that they could leave together, start over. Jinx wanted to believe her, desperately, but the voices disagreed, told her Vi was lying, that Vi had replaced her, that Vi loved Caitlin now, not Powder, that Vi would abandon her again. Every interaction pushed Jinx further into instability. She was grievously wounded during an encounter with Echo, her former childhood friend who now led the Firelights, a resistance group fighting both Piltover and Silco. Silco saved her, brought her to Singed, a scientist who injected her with a massive dose of Shimmer to heal her wounds. The Shimmer enhanced her physical abilities permanently, but made her mental state even more unstable. Eventually, Jinx kidnapped Vi, Caitlin, and Silco, tied them up in her workshop, forced Vi to choose between her sister and this new enforcer she'd brought from Piltover. Vi chose Jinx, said she'd always choose her sister. Jinx didn't believe her, couldn't believe her. The voices were too loud. During her psychotic episode, Silco broke free from his restraints and pointed a gun at Vi to try to stop Jinx from hurting herself. Jinx, in her hallucinatory state, instinctively shot him, the man who raised her, who never abandoned her, who loved her unconditionally. Silco died in Jinx's arms, used his last breath to tell her she was perfect, that he never would have given her back to Vi or betrayed her for Zon's independence. He told her to break the cycle, to stop being afraid. Jinx understood finally. She couldn't be Powder anymore. That girl died in the alley. Trying to go back would kill her. So she made her choice. She sat in the chair labeled Jinx, weaponized the Hextech gemstone through Fishbones, aimed at the Piltover Council building, and fired. The rocket flew across the city, crashed through the window during a council vote, ironically right as they were approving Zon's independence, detonated. 3 councilors died, including Caitlin's mother. The building collapsed. War between Piltover and Zon became inevitable. Powder was gone. Jinx remained. Arcane Season 2 begins in the aftermath of chaos. The assassination started a war. Caitlyn, grief-stricken over her mother's death, became commander of Piltover's forces and began hunting Jinx relentlessly. Vi joined her, desperate to stop her sister before more people died. Jinx found herself alone. No Silco, no Vi, just the voices, the hallucinations, and the chaos. Then she met Isha, a young mute Zonite orphan who was running from thugs. Isha accidentally landed on Jinx, knocking them both down. Jinx saved her, shooting the thugs pursuing her. Isha immediately idolized Jinx, saw her as a hero, followed her everywhere. And slowly, something changed in Jinx. Isha gave her purpose. Isha looked at her with admiration, not fear. Isha needed protection. For the first time since Powder, Jinx had someone to care for, someone who depended on her. Jinx began seeing herself differently, not as a Jinx, not as a weapon, as Isha's protector, her sister figure, her guardian. When Isha was captured and imprisoned in Stillwater Hold, Jinx didn't hesitate. She disguised herself as an enforcer, infiltrated the prison, and freed all the Zonite prisoners, declaring herself their hero. The people of Zon began seeing Jinx as a symbol, a revolutionary icon, someone who fought against Piltover's oppression. Then came Warwick, a Chemtech beast created by Singed, monstrously strong, savage, and uncontrollable. During a fight, the beast looked into Jinx's eyes and recognized her as Powder. Jinx realized in disbelief, this was Vander, somehow alive, transformed into a monster. Vi and Jinx worked together to save him, took him to Victor's commune, hoping Victor's arcane powers could heal Vander's mind and separate him from the beast. For a brief moment, it worked. The three of them, Vi, Jinx, and Vander, reunited, a family again. However, it didn't last very long. Ambessa Medarda, a Noxian warlord, attacked Victor's commune. Jace killed Victor, and without Victor's control, Vander transformed back into Warwick, completely savage and completely mindless. Warwick attacked everyone. Vi and Jinx fought desperately to stop him, but they were losing. Then Isha grabbed Jinx's Hextech pistol. She overloaded it with multiple Hextech gemstones, the same stunt Powder had tried years ago to save Vander, but this time Isha succeeded. Isha looked at Jinx one last time, did a finger gun gesture, and smiled through her tears. Then she fired the gun directly beneath Warwick, causing a massive explosion of arcane energy. The blast killed both Isha and Warwick. Jinx watched in horror. Her worst nightmare had come true. She'd inspired someone she loved to make the same choice Powder made, and it killed them. Isha's death shattered Jinx. She cut off her long braids, the physical symbol of Jinx's identity, let her hair fall loose, fell into deep depression. She turned herself into Caitlyn, accepted imprisonment, and gave up. But Vi wouldn't give up on her. In Arcane's final episodes, Vi and Jinx escaped together. They fought side by side against Victor's army of mindless arcane-enhanced drones during the climactic battle. Warwick returned, not truly dead, but even more monstrous. He attacked Vi and Jinx in the Hexgate Tower. After a vicious fight, Warwick leaped to deliver a killing blow to Vi. Jinx jumped in to save her sister. She ended up hanging from a beam by just her arm while being dragged down by Warwick's weight. There was no escape, no way to save the both of them. Vi tried to pull them both up, refused to let go, refused to sacrifice Jinx. Jinx looked at her sister and smiled softly. She'd finally become what Isha showed her, what Silco told her to become. Someone who could step up, take responsibility, do what a big sister needs to do. Jinx removed one of the Hextech cores from Vi's gauntlet, causing Vi to lose her grip. Then Jinx detonated one of her grenades. The explosion consumed the bottom of the Hexgate shaft, pink and blue light. Then nothing. Jinx and Warwick fell into the void. Here's where it gets interesting. Arcane's creators intentionally left Jinx's fate ambiguous, and fans immediately began analyzing every frame of that final sequence. Here's the evidence that she died. We see a massive explosion, the shaft goes down hundreds of feet, no body is ever shown, Vi is mourning her sister as if she's dead, and the story feels incomplete. However, at a closer look, there is some evidence that she did indeed survive. There's a pink streak. If you slow down the explosion frame by frame, there's a thin streak of pink, the color of Jinx's shimmer-enhanced speed, exiting the blast radius milliseconds before the detonation. You see Caitlyn smile. In the epilogue, Caitlyn examines the Hexgate Tower blueprints while holding a piece of Jinx's grenade, notably an intact piece that survived the explosion. Caitlyn zooms in on a section labeled Air Ducts and Cooling System, and smiles knowingly. The implication is that Jinx used the ventilation ducts to escape. You also see the airship. The series finale shot shows a Piltover airship flying toward the horizon. In Arcane's very first episode, young Powder sees an identical airship and wants to one day ride in one of those things. This is a full circle moment. And you see the end card. As the credits roll, text appears on screen in Jinx's signature graffiti style. The end, followed by a Jinx-style smiley face. Why include her artistic signature if she's dead? And then we see creator reactions. When asked directly if Jinx survived, co-creator Christian Link said, "I can neither confirm nor deny." Then he smiled nervously, and his body language strongly suggested she lived. He added, "Her whole story is about turning from the little, bumbling sister into someone who is able to take responsibility and do what a big sister needs to do." In a separate interview, co-creator Alex Yee stated more directly that Jinx is alive. Actress Ella Purnell responded, "We don't know. We're going to leave that open to interpretation." The consensus among creators and fans is that Jinx probably did survive. She used her shimmer-enhanced speed to escape through the air ducts, breaking the cycle of violence by literally walking away from Piltover and Zaun entirely. She let Vi believe she was dead, let Vi move on, let Vi be happy with Caitlyn without worrying about her little sister. It's the first unselfish thing Jinx has ever done. Beyond Vi, Jinx has complicated relationships throughout the League of Legends universe. Echo was her childhood friend. Before the explosion, they were close. He called her Powder. After, he became the leader of the Firelights, fighting both Piltover's oppression and Silco's criminal empire. They fought multiple times. He's fast enough with his time manipulation device to dodge her attacks. She's chaotic enough that he can't predict her movements. Every fight ends in near death. But there's still affection underneath, hesitation before killing blows. In an alternate timeline shown in Season 2, where the Hextech explosion never happened, Echo and Powder are in a romantic relationship, showing what could have been. Caitlyn represents everything Jinx hates: a Piltover enforcer, someone Vi chose over her, someone privileged, stable, and together. Everything Jinx isn't. Their encounters are vicious. Jinx specifically targets Caitlyn, taunts her during their fight in the Kiraman estate. Jinx loses a finger to Caitlyn's rifle shot. Later, Caitlyn nearly kills Isha trying to shoot Jinx. But in the end, Caitlyn lets Jinx go, chooses not to pursue revenge, suggests through her examination of the blueprints that she knows Jinx survives and is okay with that. Silco was the only person who understood her, who accepted her chaos, who told her she was perfect. His death broke something fundamental in Jinx, removed the one anchor keeping her tethered. She visits his chair sometimes, talks to his ghost. The hallucination always tells her the same thing: be who you are, break the cycle, don't be afraid. In the end, she listens. Isha showed Jinx she could be more than destruction, more than a Jinx, that she could protect, could nurture, and could be a big sister. Isha's death devastated Jinx, but it also gave her clarity. She finally understood what Vi felt, what responsibility means, and what love requires. In the actual game of League of Legends, Jinx is a marksman champion who excels at dealing massive damage from range. Her abilities mirror her arcane weapons. Get Excited is her passive. Whenever Jinx kills an enemy or destroys a structure, she gains massive movement speed and attack speed. This represents her manic excitement during chaos and the shimmer abilities that she achieved. Switcheroo is her Q. Jinx toggles between Pow Pow, the minigun with a decreasing attack speed, and Fishbones, her rocket launcher with longer range and splash damage. Different situations require different weapons. Her W is Zap. Jinx fires her shock pistol, dealing damage and slowing the first enemy hit. Her E is Flame Chompers. Jinx throws out chompers that root enemies who walk over them. And finally her R, Super Mega Death Rocket. Jinx fires a global rocket that gains damage as it travels and explodes on the first enemy champion hit. This is the same rocket she used to destroy the Council at the end of Season 1. The game's original lore for Jinx was intentionally vague. A relatively innocent girl from Zaun who became a criminal for unknown reasons. Her relationship to Vi was ambiguous at the time. Arcane is now the official canon. Riot has confirmed that the show's version of events is the true backstory for both Jinx and Vi. Jinx is a tragedy about how trauma shapes us, how violence creates more violence, and how the people we love most can hurt us the most. Powder died in an alley. Jinx was born from her corpse. Not a villain origin story, a survival story, the tale of someone doing whatever it takes to keep existing, even when existence means becoming something monstrous. But unlike most tragic stories, Jinx's arc in Arcane ends with hope. She broke the cycle, stepped up, saved Vi, let her sister go, and walked away from the violence that consumed her entire life. Whether she died in that explosion or escaped through the air ducts, she finally became what Silco told her to become: unafraid, no longer burdened by Powder's ghost. If she survived, and evidence strongly suggests that she did, she's somewhere out there, maybe on that airship heading to a new region of Runeterra, maybe finding a new purpose, maybe finally learning who she is when she's not defined by trauma. And somewhere in Piltover, Vi moves forward, heals with Caitlyn, lives the life Jinx wanted her to have. Two sisters, different paths, both finally free. In our next video, we'll explore Vi's complete lore, from Street Fighter to Enforcer, from sister to soldier, from rage to redemption. If you enjoyed this deep dive into Jinx's backstory, leave a like, and don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell icon. Let me know in the comments whether you think Jinx survived. Also, let me know what League of Legends champion's lore and backstory you want to dive into next. Don't forget to subscribe for the next champion breakdown. Until next time, we'll dive in again soon.